You're watching India Upfront. You just heard Sharad Pawar backing to the hilt Uddhav Thackeray, saying that they are going to support the Aghadi and help Uddhav navigate this crisis. But viewers, I want to take you back to 2006. Then Raj Thackeray waged a war of succession. His uncle Bal Thackeray, who founded the Shiv Sena, opted for his son Uddhav and snubbed his beloved nephew Raj Thackeray. Uddhav won the bout, even though most cynics believed that Raj Thackeray was the rightful legatee cut from the same cloth as his uncle. They may not have been wrong. 16 years later, the tide of history has turned in the favor of Eknath Shinde, Uddhav's latest challenger. As viewers, the first Thackeray became Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Eknath Shinde, who is not a Thackeray, but despite that, has appeared to have succeeded in pulling off his audacious coup against the mighty Thackeray first family. If Shinde realizes his ambitious goal, then the Thackerays, who for 57 years have been synonymous with the Shiv Sena, would have lost, in a manner of speaking, their Sena. This would be a devastating loss of face for the Thackerays. It is akin, just think about it, it is akin to the Congress being snatched from the Gandhis, the DMK in Tamil Nadu being snatched from the clutches of the Karunanidhis, the National Conference in Kashmir being snatched from the Abdullahs, or the Samajwadi Party being snatched from the Yadav clan by a MLA of those parties. So how close has Shinde come to this objective? And how close is he to re-altering the course of Maharashtra politics? Let's go across to Pranesh and Arunil for more on that. Pranesh, over to you. A latest video released by Shinde's supporters show that the rebel camp has swelled in number, over 40 MLAs, which is 4 above the mark needed to avoid the provisions of the anti-defection law. Pranesh.
That's right, Rahul. We'll go to the video, but let's quickly do the head count once again. This is the photo released by the Shinde camp. Shinde, of course, sitting in between. Let's quickly do this. Here's the pen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41 and 42. Of the 42, only 5 are independents. So the Sena, the Shinde Sena has the numbers. They are well beyond the magic mark. They will not attract the anti-defection law.
Let's now go to, yes.
Let's quickly open the video now.
Yes, and we're also being told, Pranesh, if I'm not mistaken, that the videos show that more new entrants have landed from Mumbai and joined the Shinde camp in Guwahati.
Rahul, the new entrants are yet to join. This is a video that has been released. The video we are being told was shot right after this photo was taken. And the video shows that Shinde is actually being elected as the leader by the Sena rebels.
Wow.
So you have Shinde sitting in between, the Sena rebels facing him, and they are saying two things. We pledge our allegiance to Eknath Shinde. Here you have. Yeah. And let's quickly pause it. See this frame. This is Eknath Shinde facing the rebel MLAs.
Yes.
And look at the body language. He is sitting like Uddhav Thackeray would or has sat before in Sena meetings. And all these Shiv Sena MLAs, independents included, are saying with their hands up that yes, Mr. Shinde, you are a letter.
Yes, and you are our boss. Well, viewers, it's as clear as day. That picture, that video, in case you missed it, tells you that Uddhav Thackeray has squandered the party. And with that, Bal Thackeray's legacy. Many more fence-sitting Shiv Sena MLAs have decided to dump the Thackerays and join the breakaway Shinde camp in Guwahati, which is now calling itself the real Shiv Sena. Let's go across to Arunil. Arunil, it's curtains. Is it curtains now? Is it definitively curtains? And is Uddhav Thackeray aware that it is curtains for him?
Well, certainly yes, Rahul. Any hope that CM Uddhav Thackeray or his close confidants had over here, it is end game for them, because they have been making emotional pleas. They have been writing, they have been communicating with the Eknath Shinde camp. Sanjay Raut coming out in the open and basically speaking about it, saying Sanjay Raut basically speaking about it, saying that if you're not happy, you come to us, you tell us your problem, and we will solve it. If you don't want to be with Congress and NCP, you tell us, and we will snap the task and respect your feelings. However, if we look at it, the way we look at it, Eknath Shinde immediately released a video, and the body language, as Pradesh was pointing out, it was not in the way CM Uddhav Thackeray will sit. It was exactly in the way how Bal Thackeray used to sit. Basically, he's trying to copy the image and the persona of Bal Thackeray, basically saying that CM Uddhav Thackeray has failed to do that. He has basically compromised on Hindutva by tying hands with the arch nemesis of Bal Thackeray, that is the Congress and the NCP. So whatever Eknath Shinde is doing over here, he is basically giving out an information to the Shiv Senics as well as to the Shiv Sena MLAs, to the remaining Shiv Sena MLAs who are there in CM Uddhav Thackeray's camp as well, that this is the old Shiv Sena. This believes in Hindutva, and here no compromise will be made. I'm again telling you, Rahul, that another important development that we can confirm is that Devendra Fadnavis will now soon landing in the city of Delhi, yes, and he will be having a series of meetings over there. So BJP clearly swinging into action after Eknath Shinde having numbers more than the magical number of 37 speaks volume about it. And Pranesh was counting around 37 to 38. Now,
no, go ahead, finish your point. 37, 38. Now there are more.
Well, there are two more, Rahul, that is Dada Bhuse and Sanjay Rathod. Both of them are MLAs of the Shiv Sena. They have already left. Their video has been released from the Eknath Shinde camp. So comfortably they are above the crucial 37 mark. Okay. And why this has been done? Because once bitten, twice shy. Yes, Devendra Fadnavis faced embarrassment during the Ajit Pawar episode, but here the number is comfortably past the 37 mark.
So that means none of these MLAs can be disqualified. Viewers, this is a very important development, very important development, because now the BJP can go ahead and extend support. But will the BJP go ahead and extend support? It's once bitten, twice shy, as Arunil has said. Mohit joins us. The big question, will the BJP back the Shinde Sena? Mohit Bhatt.
Well, yes, Rahul, and you see, this has been the tactic of the BJP, and you see, I was also there in Madhya Pradesh when there was talks of Scindia coming to the BJP, but the BJP wanted that Jyotiraditya Scindia should have numbers with him, should have MLAs with him, so that the Kamal Nath government can be toppled, and this is why we see that whole of the BJP, specifically center and at the state, they were waiting for the numbers. Now that the numbers are here, we know for a fact that Himanta Biswa Sarma has reached Delhi, though it being said that Himanta Biswa Sarma, being the Chief Minister of Assam from Bharatiya Janata Party, has come here as the proposer of Draupadi Murmu, who is the president candidate from the NDA, and he has also gone to the residence of Prahlad Joshi. In some time from now, we're hearing that Devendra Fadnavis will also be coming to Delhi. His name is also there as the proposer of Draupadi Murmu. All the senior leaders of the BJP, all the chief ministers, they are coming here. But a meeting can take place at the residence of JP Nadda or at the residence of Home Minister Amit Shah. BJP was waiting for the numbers. Now that the numbers are here, we have done the head count, and if numbers are there, BJP will surely want to go for the floor test, and that is why BJP was waiting. They wanted that Eknath Shinde should collect all their men, and then with the numbers, BJP can claim that yes, they are the single largest party and they have support of the Eknath Shinde camp. And
well, will the BJP, and how quickly will the BJP open its cards and put them on the table, viewers? That's the million-dollar question. It's the biggest question. And it's a question that could seal Uddhav Thackeray's fate, could sever him from the Shiv Sena as we know it. It could re-alter the political landscape of Maharashtra forever. The Thackerays, their time might be over. At least Uddhav Thackeray, Raj Thackeray, who broke away saying that Uddhav didn't have it in him to lead the party in the same manner and in the image of Bal Thackeray, will have the last laugh. But can he resurrect himself and reclaim the legacy that his own cousin has squandered? That's another question, but that's for a later date, viewers. Right now, the pressure will be on Uddhav Thackeray to quit. He has moved out of the official chief minister bungalow, Varsha. He has lost his MLAs. It's on your screens. He squandered the party. He's lost Bal Thackeray's legacy. Why is he still holding on to the kursi? Viewers, that's the fundamental question. And I'll be posing that question, but not before we hear from Sanjay Raut, the closest aide of Uddhav Thackeray, who says out of desperation to Shinde and the rebel camp, we are ready to let go of the NCP and the Congress. Viewers, the same allies that pledged Uddhav support and put him in that chief ministerial chair, the Sena now says, the Uddhav Sena says, we're ready to give them the kick. Listen to this.
आणि त्यांची जी मागणी आहे ती मागणी अधिकृतपणे शिवसेना पक्षप्रमुखांसमोर त्यांनी मांडावी. त्यांच्या मागणीचा नक्की विचार होईल, पण आधी मुंबईत याची हिंमत दाखवा. पण आमची भूमिका फक्त सध्याच्या सरकारविषयी आहे. त्या सरकारमधून महाविकास आघाडीतून शिवसेना बाहेर पडायला तयार आहे. तुम्ही ते येण्याची हिंमत दाखवा, समोर उद्धव साहेबांसमोर या आणि भूमिका मांडा. नक्की तुमच्या भूमिकेचा विचार होईल. 24 तासात परत या.
उद्धव साहब ने चर्चा के लिए बुला है. उनके इधर से क्या मैसेज जा रहा, उधर से क्या मैसेज आ रहा, ये चलते रहेगा. लेकिन हम सारे शिवसैनिकों की इच्छा एक ही है कि इसमें सुलह हो जाए और फिर, क्योंकि वो भी शिवसैनिक है और वो पार्टी छोड़ के नहीं गए.
Let's open this up, viewers. We've got a very, very important question to ask. And I'm going to bring in SK Supariwala. I'm going to bring in Sameer Desai, leader of the Shiv Sena. I'm going to bring in Lokesh Jindal, leader of the Congress, the spokesperson of the Congress, Karan Verma, author, Tushar Gupta, senior editor of Swarajya, and Smita Prakash, all of them, right now into this important debate, critical debate. A debate, the outcome of which, viewers, could reorient the history of Maharashtra politics as we go further. The Shiv Sena being snatched from the Thackerays. Can you believe it? Can you believe it, viewers? As I began by saying, this is akin to someone snatching the Congress away from the Gandhis. That's how elemental this is. This is how monumental it is. And I want to go straight across to you, SK Supariwala. There is visual proof now that Uddhav Thackeray has lost more than 2/3 of his MLAs to Eknath Shinde. He's vacated his residence, Varsha. He's even said that I'm ready to vacate any post if these MLAs continue down this route. He's even saying that I'm ready to dump Sharad Pawar, who made him chief minister. He says, I'm even ready to dump Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, Priyanka Vadra, the Congress party. But allow me to continue in office, please. Come back to me. Support me. Sir, he's lost his party.
Let me first.
He's lost his MLAs. Why is Uddhav Thackeray still holding on to his CM's post? What gives him the natural right to do so, the moral authority to do so? You need to answer this question. ना उनके पास पार्टी है, ना MLAs हैं. वो कहते हैं कि भाई मैं वर्षा बंगलो भी छोड़ के जा रहा हूं, तो सिर्फ कुर्सी भी छोड़ दो.
Let me correct you. Let me correct you now. Can I say? Can I start?
Yes, sir.
Answering to your question.
Of course, sir.
The thing is, first I'd like to correct you. Shiv Sena is only Uddhav Thackeray, Aditya Thackeray, and that is the only Shiv Sena. There is no other Shiv Sena. Okay? Please get your facts right.
The facts are on your screen,
of
sir.
Shiv Sena is the leader
Shinde
of
has
Shiv
given you
Sena
the
and nobody
facts.
else.
Is it not a fact that
Okay,
42
facts,
MLAs are with him?
We are talking about.
No, is it not true? Is
we
it
are
not
talking
a fact?
about those
Are you
40,
telling me that
no,
I'm faking
47
it?
MLAs will not decide.
Are you telling me I'm faking
47
this?
MLAs.
Sajid
47,
Supariwala, am I
48.
faking the
Let
fact
it be
that 42 MLAs have
480.
walked out?
1 minute.
Just tell me I'm
If
faking
you
it. Tell me that I'm faking
did
the
I
story.
deny that there are 45 or whatever?
There you go.
Can
45
I speak?
or whatever.
Can I speak? When you're asking me a question, Rahul, please let me speak. This is a very wrong habit. When somebody is trying to put up something, you don't shut them up. You let them speak, yaar. Kindly let me speak. I'm not denying anything. These 45 MLAs you're talking about, 42, let them be 450 MLAs. We are not talking. The government is, the voters are not the MLAs. The MLAs are being elected by the people. And the people want Uddhav Thackeray only as the Shiv Sena leader. They will not accept anybody else as the Shiv Sena leader. The founder of the Shiv Sena was Uddhav Thackeray and my respected Balasaheb Thackeray and not anybody else. So obviously, if the founder is Uddhav Thackeray's father, how can anybody just claim to be a leader? There is no other Shiv Sena. There is only one Shiv Sena. Let's not confuse the people. The people who have gone away also, like I have been telling earlier, let them come, let them prove it on the floor test. The time is there. If they have everything ready, why are they not coming to Maharashtra? Guwahati is not in Maharashtra. Let those leaders come here. Let those MLAs come here. Prove on the floor test. What are we waiting for? Uddhav also said the same thing. Why don't they come and prove themselves on the floor test?
Okay.
If they have the numbers.
Mr. Supariwala, can I ask
We
you
are
a
seeing the
counter
photographic
question?
evidence. I'm not denying it.
Okay, you're not denying it. Can I ask you a counter question?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
If Shiv Senics believe that the
please
Thackeray's
go ahead.
are the custodians of the Shiv Sena, the only custodians, why aren't they out on the streets? Why aren't they coming out like they have done in the past? Have they not done it in the past?
There are.
Did they not
I
get out?
think-
No,
I
1
think
minute,
you
let me
are
finish.
not seeing-
Did they not get out,
Now-
Raj Thackeray?
now
Kahan hai
Shiv
Shiv
Sena
Senics?
is-
There's no one on the street. There's no one saying, Shinde, you have committed the
They
greatest
had
betrayal.
come.
Where are
had
they?
come on the streets. We just do things. We just do things now. We do not want to be rebels like other people. We will listen to our master. We will listen to our leader.
Master.
If he tells us to do something, we will be definitely doing it.
Master.
Secondly,
Okay.
I think
Master,
you
Sahib.
are not understanding. When he had left from Varsha, he had been 1 minute. Let me explain. When they left from Varsha to Matoshri, flower petals had been he had been welcomed at Matoshri with thousands of Shiv Sainik. All the roads were blocked. All the sea link was also blocked. What are you talking about the Shiv Sena? The Shiv Sainik
Sir, at one time, Shiv Senics used to write letters in blood. Not that I'm encouraging all of that. As a sign of support.
Now
Today,
let me
the
tell
Shiv
you,
Senics
I'm
are
coming to that
not
point.
anywhere there because
I'm
they
coming to
believe
that
that
point.
Uddhav Thackeray squandered the legacy of the great Bal
I'm
Thackeray.
coming to the point. I'm coming to the point. There was a time when people used to fight their battles with swords and horses. Times keep changing.
Okay.
The fight is still on.
So now
It is
they've gone
another
silent.
style.
Okay, let me bring
Shiv
it.
Sena style is
Let me
not
bring
over
it.
yet.
Let me bring it. Okay, one second.
No, they have not gone silent.
Okay.
They are doing it in a polished manner.
Oh, polished manner, is it?
Democratic
Polished?
manner.
Okay. So one second. So there is a master-slave kind of relationship. That first of all, let's get that out of the way. That Mr. Supariwala says
You are not
that
understanding.
Smita Prakash,
Your
this is the
problem,
same
your
kind of
problem- your problem
parivarvad
is that about master
that we
means
see.
Saheb.
That we see.
It is called Saheb in Marathi.
No. I'm not
You are
saying
understanding.
anything.
It's not about
You
the
said
slave.
the word
We are not
master,
slaves.
sir.
We are Shiv Senics.
Sir, you
We are
use
Shiv
the word
Senics.
master. I didn't use the word master.
means the mastermind.
Mastermind.
Master means the boss.
The boss is sitting in
If you call
Guwahati.
your seniors a boss, that does not make you a slave.
But why are your MLAs
That
not
does make
recognizing
you a
Uddhav
slave.
Thackeray
We
as the
are
boss?
Shiv Senics.
Sir, can I ask you with folded hands? Why
Just
is
45
why
MLAs
are
will
1
decide
minute,
the future
sir?
of Shiv Sena?
Sir, मेरी बात
What
तो
if they
सुनिए.
come back?
Supariwala
Tell me
ji,
something.
Sajid bhai,
Rahul,
listen to me.
20 are already in touch.
So they're not in touch, sir. They're sitting very firmly. They're sitting very firmly. They are sitting very firmly. Now let me just ask you. Okay, 1 minute. You will agree that
being on camera and coming personally is a
Mr. Supariwala, you will agree that MLAs represent. सुन तो लीजिए ना, मेरा सवाल तो सुन लीजिए, sir. Please listen to my question. I'm not asking anything which is out of the ordinary or very, very offensive. I'm only asking you to have a conversation. I want to understand where you're coming from, draw you out. I want to ask you this question. You would agree that MLAs represent the voice of the people, right? They also represent the voice of Shiv Senics, right? Yes or no? Yes or no?
They are elected by the people.
By the people. So you would recognize that they have popular support.
By the people? Yes
now,
or no?
if these Senics,
so these people are,
if these Senics who represent the people don't recognize Uddhav Thackeray as their boss, then that's game, set and match, isn't it, sir? Then the Shiv Sena obviously doesn't recognize, the majority of the Shiv Senics don't recognize Uddhav as their boss.
Let me correct you.
आप खुद ही बोल रहे हैं.
You're asking me a question. You're asking me a question. Am I having the right to reply to it?
Of course, I'm asking you to reply.
Can I?
I am asking you to reply.
See, all MLAs are voted by the people. Those people are definitely with Uddhav Thackeray. We know the facts. We know the ground. We are not talking about only sitting in an AC office and just counting the heads on a video. What we are talking about is physically they will come, represent themselves before the floor test will be done. They will say that Uddhav Sahib, we are not with you. Uddhav Sahib was already committed and already told on the media, as you are aware of, that he is ready. But at least they should come and tell Uddhav Sahib that, okay, Sahib, we are doing this.
Why should they, sir?
We cannot guarantee
a video. If they don't recognize him as their boss, why should they? Anyhow, that's a different question. I'll come to that question also. I'll come to that question also. Smita Prakash, you've as a journalist seen a large number of these coups. I can take you back to Indira Gandhi's time. We can talk about coups that have taken place where Akhilesh Yadav staged one against his father, but this is a very different one. This reminds me actually of what happened with Najlingappa and the syndicate and Indira Gandhi, where outsiders, non-Gandhis, decided to wrest control of the Congress. Eventually that didn't work out, and to that extent maybe Supariwala is right that okay, the Shiv Sena cannot be divorced from the Thackerays, and maybe this attempt, Shinde attempt, will flop. But as of today, if Mr. Supariwala concedes, Sanjay Rawat concedes that MLAs speak for the people, that they represent the people, then can they say that they don't speak for the people? I don't understand this.
Since you mentioned Indira Gandhi, I mean, what the spokesperson of the Shiv Sena said just now, it just reminded me so much of that, because he said Shiv Sena is Uddhav and Aditya. And that's it. And Aditya and Uddhav are Shiv Sena. It was so much in the line of India is Indira, Indira is India. I mean, Shiv Sena has come so far away from the Shiv Sena of the past. Even though Shiv Sena was associated with Bal Thackeray, he was the Karta Dharta of the party. In spite of that, it was such a Shakha-based party. There was so much of discipline. So today what we are seeing right now, this rebellion is so not in keeping with the grain of Shiv Sena. They don't see themselves as master, even though it is said Sahib is a form of respect. It's not master. It doesn't translate to master. You know, the thing is that this unnatural alliance has been sitting uneasy on the Shiv Senics. But because rebellion is not something that Shiv Sena does, so they did not rebel. But they have been uncomfortable with this agadi from the word go. And the fact that Uddhav has never been the kind of people's person that Balasaheb was. It has been difficult for Uddhav to be one also, because Balasaheb was such a big overpowering personality. So for him to come out of that was difficult. And then you had Raj Thackeray breathing down his neck. So it has been difficult. And his nature, by nature, he doesn't do. You know, I beg to differ from what your reporter, in fact, said it respectfully. I would like to say that the way Shinde is sitting and the pictures that you're putting is not at all like Bal Thackeray. Bal Thackeray did not sit like this with his people. He used to sit on this really ornate chair. He never used to sit like this with the people. So at no no point of time is Shinde trying to pretend to be another Bal Thackeray. He's trying to say, I am one of you. No way that Shinde will be able to touch a chord among everybody to say, I am a Thackeray or I am like a Thackeray. At that moment itself, there will be a break between him and the flock who is with him.
Right.
He will not make that. He will not make that pretense of trying to be the inheritor of Thackeray legacy. No, he's going to try and say, I am one of you who's there. That is why you're seeing at the same level. The visuals and the body language is extremely important right now. He's just trying to motivate the crowd. And one of the things he said out here in these visuals is that there's a big party with me. He's come out in the open now to say that there's a BJP. On the other hand, you're seeing a dejected Uddhav who's literally come down to single-digit figures. In spite of that, I say just wait and watch, because you can never say with the Shiv Senics, they can still get together, because as I said, rebellion is not easy. It just doesn't sit easy with them. What they have a problem is that
I'll tell you then,
elitism
Smita
of
Prakash, Uddhav Thackeray will have to reorient its style.
Correct.
Complete style. And you're right, this sitting on the throne business is not going to work, because this is precisely why. In a letter to Uddhav Thackeray, Mr. Shinde has said, why and others, of course, who signed that letter, have said we are splitting. And Samir Desai, these are the reasons. Chief Minister's door was closed for 2.5 years. What kind of Balasaheb legatee would treat his cubs, as he would call them, as, sir, people,
Rahul, may I?
as people who are not part of his brood? He would never shut his door for 2.5 years on his cubs. People around Chief Minister decided if we can meet him. Balasaheb would not have treated them
Rahul,
as if they were not his cubs. Had to wait for hours at the gates to meet his own Chief Minister.
Rahul, may I?
MLAs didn't get funds for development work, called and stopped from visiting Ayodhya. Balasaheb Thackeray welcomed, now whether we like it or not, viewers, he welcomed the demolition of the Babri Masjid. He said Ayodhya was our karma bhumi. He was the original Hindu Hriday Samrat. You may not like it.
He took ownership. He took ownership, Rahul.
Took ownership of it.
Yeah, he said, my boys did it. To a BBC interview, he said, my boys did it. He's the only one who took ownership, not even the BJP. At that time, LK Advani and all turned back and said, it is the saddest day of my life. But Bal Thackeray took ownership.
His cubs dug up a pitch during a high-profile Indo-Pak encounter, cricket match encounter. Here you have the Uddhav Thackeray government, Uddhav Thackeray himself criticizing the Prime Minister for taking a strong position against China. Mr. Desai, no Thackeray, especially Bal Thackeray, would have ever compromised on national interest, on the core ideology of the Shiv Sena. But Mr. Desai, this is what has happened. And that's why you are facing this rebellion. Quite clearly today, the Shinde camp seems to have grasped the ideology of Bal Thackeray better than Mr. Uddhav Thackeray. That's why you're having this problem. Samir Desai, could you respond?
Rahul, primarily, Balasaheb is towing the same ideology, same principles, same values that Balasaheb had throughout his life, primarily. Secondly, Rahul, you were talking about where are the Shiv Senics. Rahul, let us all understand that had it not been the lakhs and lakhs of Shiv Senics, or the pressure, or I will go a step ahead and say the fear of these Shiv Senics, which made these elected MLAs and elected on the soil and on the blood and sweat of these Shiv Senics, that they had to go to Surat and Guwahati. What do you think is the reason that these MLAs, these elected MLAs of the party had to leave Maharashtra in the middle of night and go to a state, thereby, and then going and expressing their view? What do you think, if it is not the fear or pressure
Mr.
of the
Desai,
Shiv Senics?
listen, we'll come to that point. You're saying it's all under BJP. BJP has done this.
No. Rahul, let me tell you, I do not want to include a party because this is our mess and it is up to us to clear it. So I do not intend to get any other party into it. I do not want to give the credit to any other party, but to take the blame on ourselves. Primarily, Rahul, let us understand that there are perils and beauties of democracy. The beauties of democracy is that a tea vendor, of which I am actually proud of this democracy, becomes the Prime Minister of our country. A rickshawala becomes an MLA. A commoner becomes the UD Minister of our the state. There are certain perils as well. Now, please tell me, for the common 12 crore Marathi or Maharashtrian or residents of Maharashtra, the voters of Maharashtra or the people of Maharashtra, what is exact Shiv Sena? Who is the exact Shiv Sena? 14, 15 MPs or 40, 45 MLAs? Are they Shiv Sena, or the lakhs and lakhs and lakhs of workers who have been working, slogging their sweat off for these
Mr. Desai, can I say one thing? Mr. Desai, can I say one thing? You said
these are the perils of democracy.
Okay, one second.
However,
Desai
we are ready to face this as well.
Okay, Desai Sahib, you said Uddhav has followed Balasaheb's legacy. You said that. You said that at the beginning. Did you not? Yes or no?
In toto.
In toto. Okay. So now let me read out a few things that Bal Thackeray said. He said, July 1992, even if one Shiv Sainik stands against me and my family and says I left the Shiv Sena because of you or you hurt us, I'm not prepared to continue as Shiv Sena chief for one moment. यहाँ तो सर उद्धव जी कहते हैं, as SK Supariwala says, that the Shiv Sena is Thackeray and Thackeray is Shiv Sena. While there are 30 to 40 to 42 to 45, one doesn't know. I can only go by what's on my screen. And that tells me there are 42 Shiv Sainik MLAs who have said, we don't want you. And yet, sir, you are hanging on to the party chief's position. Bal Thackeray sir said, am I wrong?
Rahul,
I'm quoting him.
Rahul, they are not
Rahul,
going to decide Shiv Sena.
did Uddhav ji not say yesterday that any Shiv Sainik, any MLA from you, come up to me or even write to me that we do
They've
not
written
want
to him.
you as a chief minister.
They've written to him, sir.
They've written.
They've written.
Now, as I said,
Mr. Desai, they've written. What are they supposed to do?
No, they need to tell Uddhav ji.
They have told him.
We do not. No,
have you not heard the sound bites? Have you not heard the? Have you not seen the tweets? Have you not seen the letters signed by all 46?
Two Shiv Sena spokespersons can't agree with each
Tushar
other.
Gupta. Tushar Gupta. They say they are following Bal Thackeray to
Rahul.
the in toto. Bal Thackeray said, even if one Shiv Sainik stands against me and my family and says I left the Shiv Sena because of you or hurt us, I'm not prepared to continue as Shiv Sena chief for one moment. Forget that. Uddhav Thackeray is not prepared to even leave the chief minister's chair for a minute.
Two people have come back with a complaint.
He's taken the chief minister's chair with him to Matoshri.
What do you think? Two people have come back from that
Rahul,
lot.
chief minister is a
From that
statutory
lot, two
post.
people have
which
come
cannot
back.
be
What
just
about
given away or
that? One
taken.
has been beaten by the police.
Allow me a few interrupted seconds, please.
In case he has to
Rahul,
step down,
what are you
they will
talking
have
about?
to come on the floor
Let
of the
them
house
come.
and show
Let
that
them come, then we'll decide.
Let us at
Sameer
least
Desai
respect
says,
that democracy,
Sameer
Rahul.
Desai says,
may I-
Uddhav Thackeray has followed
May I-
Bal Thackeray in toto. Okay, see, you can shout over me, sir. I'm not going to shout over any of you.
I do not.
Desai
How can
Saab, you said he's
Rahul,
followed Bal
Rahul,
Thackeray in
let me
toto.
answer this. Let me answer this.
Okay.
lies only with you.
Swarajya senior editor Tushar Gupta wants to come in. Yes, Tushar Gupta, come in. Tushar Gupta, come in, respond to Mr.
Rahul,
Supariwala and Mr.
imagine the
Desai.
condition of the party. Rahul,
Yeah.
I'll sum it up. Imagine the condition of the party where two spokespersons on your show can't agree with each other. You know, when the Shiv Sena contested the election, they gave up on their ideology.
Totally.
When they started governing, they gave up on their integrity.
You're getting it wrong.
Today, when the MLAs have given up on them, they're struggling for their identity. Mr. Desai here says there are perils to democracy. I'll explain him what's a peril of democracy. In Maharashtra, people voted for Fadnavis and Thackeray government. Fadnavis's BJP emerged as the single largest party. But what did we have? We had an unholy marriage of convenience between the NCP, between the Congress, between the Shiv Sena, because there was lust for power and greed. That's the peril of democracy. For 2.5 years, within the pandemic, people struggled. People were desperate for oxygen. People were desperate for vaccines. That's the peril of democracy.
Gentlemen, don't speak over each other. Mr. Desai didn't speak over you. Let him finish.
That's a peril of democracy.
Okay.
For 2.5 years, the people of Maharashtra had to suffer a government they did not vote for. That's the peril of democracy. And what are you talking about Uddhav Thackeray following the legacy of the great Balasaheb Thackeray? Mr. Desai, learn to listen. That's why your party is in this condition. The disconnect from the public is why your party is in this condition today.
Sir,
you are telling me that Uddhav Thackeray follows the legacy of the great Balasaheb Thackeray?
To rise like a phoenix. We will come back stronger.
Where are the MLAs? No one cares about your potential, sir. Slow test are not one on potential. They are one with MLA support. 3 emergency meetings. Where are the MLAs?
We have consumed our time. We have given our time,
Mr.
Desai, and everything
Mr.
to get these
Desai,
MLAs elected.
Mr. Desai,
if not there, we will elect someone else.
Mr. Desai, the numbers
these 5 years,
are not
these 2.5
on your side. Mr. Desai, answer this simple question. Mr. Desai, answer this simple question on the show.
When you will need Shiv Senics on the road.
Mr. Desai, can you answer a simple question? Mr. Desai, can you answer a simple question? Would Balasaheb Thackeray, the great Balasaheb Thackeray, jail anyone for reciting the Hanuman Chalisa? Answer yes or no.
Please
Would the great Balasaheb Thackeray jail anyone for reciting the Hanuman Chalisa? Yes or no?
Who in their proper senses?
Yes or no? Just answer a simple question. Yes or no? Would the great Balasaheb Thackeray jail anyone for reciting the Hanuman Chalisa? Yes or no?
Outside
Mr. Desai, do you have an answer? Mr. Desai, do you have an answer?
They do not.
Yes or no?
They could not have the opportunity to even visit and recite Hanuman Chalisa outside a shaka
Mr. Desai,
unless they were invited.
Mr. Desai, just
okay, one minute. Let me just step in here. I'm going to lower everyone's faders. Please, this is not right. Sameer Desai, Tushar Gupta, let's not fight over each other and talk over each other and fight with each other. I want to bring in another contradiction, and I will prove it right now. Sameer Desai and Supariwala say, Karan Verma, you're there listening in. Supariwala and Desai both say that Uddhav Thackeray has followed the legacy in toto. Now, I want us viewers to ask Karan Desai and Lokesh Jindal. Lokesh Jindal, Congress Party. Lokesh Jindal, I just want to ask you, and don't give me a long history and geography, just answer my question short. Don't have all the time in the world. So I'm asking you, what do you think about Veer Savarkar? Was he a courageous Indian? Or do you agree with what Rahul Gandhi said, that Veer Savarkar was not Veer, he was a Kair who sold out India to the British by writing apology letters to the British? Can you tell me just where you stand on this? Do you agree with Rahul Gandhi or you don't agree with him? Yes or no?
I agree with Rahul Gandhi.
Now just stop there. Okay, now just stop there, Mr. Jindal. I'll come back to you in 30 seconds. Let's do this in a lawyerly manner, okay? Now, Mr. Desai, the ally that you have used as a support to be in power, that you love so much that you're willing to allow 47 of your MLAs to go into the hands of a larger party like the BJP, for instance, if I'm to believe you, that Congress believes that Veer Savarkar was a Kair.
Rahul,
he sold out the country. Bal Thackeray, no, one minute. Finish my question. Bal Thackeray said that Veer Savarkar was a nationalist. Should I quote? Savarkar was a supporter.
It is written. It is imbibed in every Indian.
So why is Uddhav Thackeray stuck with a political party that abuses the ideological mentor of the Shiv Sena, and a man that Balasaheb Thackeray respected, thought he was his great ideological mentor? You tell me this.
Rahul, let me respond. It is very unfortunate. However, Rahul, this government, if you recollect, was formed on a common minimum program.
Oh.
It was formed on a common minimum
so you compromised
program in welfare of the Maharashtra state.
Right.
One. Second, Rahul.
You compromised.
Second, my question to you, Rahul, again, and through you to the others.
No, 1 minute.
Rahul,
1 minute. Do you think, Sameer Desai, I'm asking you a simple question on this point. No, very important. Sameer Desai.
Janata Party went into an alliance
Mr.
with
Desai.
Mufti.
Did you pull out? Did you pull out of? No, hang on. Yes, they did that, and it was very bad, very, very wrong that they tied up. I'm asking you a question. This is a very important point.
When in the wee hours of the morning.
Okay, so tell me, Sameer Desai, 1 minute, 1 minute.
The same NCP
Fair enough.
We are accusing, which you all are accusing of having all the.
Okay. It is not, by the way.
What ideologies were there?
Okay, Shiv, Mr. Desai, can you listen to me now? This is a counter question I have for you, and Karan Desai will pose that question to you also. I want to ask you, you didn't think that the BJP, Karan Verma, you didn't think, Mr. Desai, that the BJP did the right thing by tying up with the PDP. It sold the country down, the tube. But at the very time it was doing this alliance with the PDP, you and the BJP were in alliance in Maharashtra. Why didn't you quit that alliance and say BJP has betrayed the nation? You were part of that alliance. Why didn't you quit? Balasaheb Thackeray would have quit. Why didn't you quit?
Shiv Sena has kept the interest of Maharashtra first.
Oh.
We have always.
So let me tell you, viewers.
This government was formed only on the basis of a common minimum program, which has been adhered to.
Can I come in now, please?
I'll just bring you in, Karan Verma. There is another important point. Look at the way the 1 minute, everybody. Gupta ji, 1 second. Now look at the way the Shiv Sena has contradicted itself once again. I'll tell you why. This is what Bal Thackeray had to say about Sharad Pawar in 1998. Viewers, we come with research, we come with hard facts. Times Now is not a faffing channel that gives a platform to people. We ask the hard questions. We asked them of the BJP when they formed that government under Mr. Fadnavis in a hurry in the wee hours of the morning. We asked it of the BJP when it went and tied up with the PDP. But two wrongs don't make a right. So Shiv Sena today invoking, oh, the BJP has done it, who are they to lecture? The BJP is not lecturing. 47 Sena MLAs are lecturing Uddhav Thackeray for betraying Bal Thackeray. And what did Bal Thackeray say? They are talking about the interests of Maharashtra. Thackeray believed that one of the biggest politicians in Maharashtra was not serving the interests of Maharashtra. What did he say? If the BJP befriends Sharad Pawar, we will reconsider our alliance and pull out. I have no doubts about this. We have come to power riding a popular wave of anti-Pawar sentiment. There can be no compromise on this. We do not want power or Pawar at any cost. We are a party of principles. Uddhav Thackeray, viewers, 14 years later, actually 22 years later, my maths is pathetic. 22 years later, compromises on principles and clutches Sharad Pawar. 1999, this is what Bal Thackeray said about Sharad Pawar. If politics is to be considered a game of scoundrels, it is for a man to decide whether he wants to be a gentleman or a scoundrel. If anyone wants to become a scoundrel, okay, but I will not go with a scoundrel, whoever he may be. This is what Thackeray said about Sharad Pawar. Why was Uddhav Thackeray then tying up with? What interest of Maharashtra was he serving by tying up with a scoundrel, in the words of Bal Thackeray? Sameer Desai, respond.
Tell me, Rahul, again I tell you that decisions have to be taken in the interest of the state and the current political scenario.
Okay.
What else could have forced Bharatiya Janata Party to align with Nitish Kumar ji in Bihar, a gentleman who had claimed and vowed to finish the RSS from India? What otherwise, other than the interest, tell me, other than the interest of the state, what promoted, what made them get into an alliance not once but twice? And the second time assuring them the mandate, assuring them the chief ministerial post.
Okay, Smita Prakash, Karan Verma want to come in. Yes, Smita Prakash, respond to Mr. Desai. Respond to Mr. Desai.
The leader who had
look at Mr. Desai going on and about BJP and complaining about BJP's alliances when they went in and fought the election with Modi's face on the posters. Did you not fight the election with Mr. Modi's face?
Political scenario of the nation.
Did you not fight the election with Mr. Modi's face on your posters? Why did you fight the election with Modi? Why did you fight the election with the BJP as your ally? If it bothered you so much about BJP allying with Nitish Kumar and with PDP, then why did you fight the election with them? You fought the election with them. That is your natural ally. even now even now, given half a chance, you will jump and go with them because they are your natural allies. Whether it comes to Hindutva, whether it comes to Savarkar, whether it comes to anything, they are your natural allies. Right now, it is not suiting you. They are the ones that you would go with. It is what Rahul just quoted about Bal Thackeray and what he said about Pawar. The fact is that Bal Thackeray also had his special meetings with celebrities and Bollywood top guns and all that. But his politics was different. His politics was completely different. This is where I think Uddhav has strayed, Rahul, from the path of his father, is that, you know, by becoming chief minister, he's had to manage with egos, with politics, with alliances, which Bal Thackeray didn't have to do. He was not in office, so he did not have to play real politics in this term. Uddhav, unfortunately, wore that crown of thorns, and he had these egos to manage, and he took the support of Pawar and
so are you saying, Smita Prakash, very important point, Smita Prakash making a very important point, correct me if I'm wrong. So you're saying Uddhav Thackeray traded principles for power, became the first Thackeray to go into office, and therefore had to make these compromises. And he did not believe, and he thought that all the MLAs would follow, and he ended up rejecting a party like the BJP in the interests of the welfare of Maharashtra that stood up for Ayodhya, Hindutva, fights for Hindus, everything that Bal Thackeray stood up for. Is that what you're saying? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, absolutely. And here also, he could have taken the Sainiks on board. He could have. The problem is that he ensconced himself in this ivory tower. He is not a people's person. He could have, and of course, COVID came in and his health issues were also there.
Yes, Karan
Verma.
If
he had managed to convince the Shiv Seniks that this was in the interest of Maharashtra, as the spokespersons are saying, he might have been able to convince.
He might have been able to. Karan Verma, let me ask you this question. If Uddhav couldn't be receptive even to his own leaders. 1 minute. I'm bringing in Karan Verma. He hasn't spoken. Please. If Uddhav couldn't be receptive to even his own leaders, can he be receptive to the needs of the people of the state? And maybe the people of the state who are speaking to 47 MLAs who are today in Guwahati. That's the fundamental question. Karan Verma.
Rahul, when you lust for power and that is palpable, then power also eludes you eventually. First, power eludes you, then your identity eludes you. And today, Uddhav Thackeray is facing an identity crisis of humongous proportions. But then, Rahul, this is his own doing. I mean, let's not forget Uddhav Thackeray, when the Shiv Sena spokesperson says he embraced Hindutva in toto, Balasaheb Thackeray had said that it is our moral duty to make sure that Hindus who are oppressed in Afghanistan, Bangladesh, they are resettled here in India. And the Shiv Sena under Uddhav Thackeray, they staged a walkout in the Rajya Sabha when the CAA amendment came. Balasaheb Thackeray, who was all for the safety and security of Mumbai and could not have ever tolerated any sorts of links with those who had masterminded the blasts in Mumbai, Uddhav Thackeray's party goes on to ally with Sharad Pawar. And one of his aides, one of Sharad Pawar's aides, Nawab Malik, is today involved in shady dealings with Dawood itself. What does this show? Well, the fact is Uddhav has compromised every single principle of his book. He has thrown the rule book out. He has kept people away from him. And Rahul, you started the show by saying that you've seen a lot of coups, but none of this magnitude. Well, we've never seen a divorce of this magnitude from your core ideology before. What do you expect when that happens? The cadre stops respecting you. The MLAs stop respecting you. And when the Shiv Sena spokesperson says that MLAs don't represent the Shiv Seniks, the mandate was in the first place for a Fadnavis and Thackeray government.
1 second. Just look over your shoulder. 1 second. Let's go to Mr. Supariwala once. Mr. Supariwala, I want to come to you in a full frame. And I'm also asking viewers to call in now and ask them who's to blame for the crisis in Maharashtra. So you're going to hear some viewers. Mr. Supariwala, just look over your right shoulder. You know who's looking over you, sir? Can you see the face of Mr. Bal Thackeray there?
Yeah, I know.
Yes? Would Mr. Bal Thackeray have been proud today when so many Shiv Senics are coming out there and saying that, listen, we are not happy with your leadership? The same Bal Thackeray who came and said very clearly, Mr. Supariwala, that if even one Shiv Sainik has a complaint, I'll give up. Yes, I'll give up my post. Yes, let's go back to the windows. Yeah. Yes. Mr. Supariwala.
Can I come?
Yes, of course.
Now the thing is, you are talking about Balasaheb Thackeray, the great Balasaheb Thackeray. He would not have let these people go away. There would have been a different style. Right now, what Uddhav Sahib is doing, he's doing in a softer manner because things have changed. The people who have gone will not decide the future of Shiv Sena. He had already instructed, even if one MLA goes, we will not spare that MLA. You toda, te सांगितले होते थे हमने. But आज कैसा है कि हर चीज दौर अलग-अलग आते हैं. We have to go with the future. It is a future-based Shiv Sena. Shiv Sena is no longer the only Shiv Sena you used to see in the olden times. It is not the only ruffian Shiv Sena. Shiv Sena has become polished. Shiv Sena has become democratic, more democratic than before. And Aditya Thackeray is helping Shiv Sena go through that success and grow. These people who have vested interests will never be able to be called a Shiv Sainik. Shiv Sainik will only be called a Shiv Sainik
47 MLAs have a vested interest.
Will be able to understand
the party has a vested interest.
Shiv Sena.
You gave them tickets to become MLAs.
Oh, not
these
only
47 MLAs,
two-thirds
of the party has a vested interest. So you are abusing your own MLAs.
There are lakhs of Shiv Senics. They have elected. The MLAs have been elected by the public.
Political workers of the
It's not, they have voted. They have been voted.
Eknath Shinde has actually done an Uddhav Thackeray on Uddhav Thackeray, actually.
Sorry, Karan Verma was saying?
Actually, Uddhav Thackeray is...
Rahul, Eknath Shinde has actually done an Uddhav Thackeray on Uddhav Thackeray. When Mr. Shoaib says that people don't represent, these 47 MLAs don't represent the aspirations of people, this is exactly what they did. The vote was for Fadnavis
Breaking news coming
Thackeray.
in. Breaking news coming in. Karan Verma, breaking news coming in. We are also getting viewers we want to speak with. 1 second, lower everyone's fader. Big news coming in. Dramatic escalation. Shinde camp takes on Uddhav Thackeray. Shinde camp, Uddhav Thackeray on notice, calls out compromise for power. Can't call us traitors. We are Balasaheb Sainiks. Balasaheb taught us to stand against injustice. You can compromise, we won't. This is a message coming from two-thirds of the Shiv Sena. Smita Prakash, the writing is on the wall. They don't believe that Mr. Uddhav Thackeray is living up to the principles of Balasaheb Thackeray. We won't compromise, we will fight on. How do you interpret this?
See, I don't think, even though there are claims that the Shiv Sena has changed and all, I think the Shiv Sena is just the same. All these emotional appeals, whether it was yesterday Uddhav or else all these letters which are coming in, this tugging at the heartstrings and this drama that is happening, I don't think this should continue for long. They have the numbers. If they have the numbers, it should be this
on the floor of the House
in public.
Okay, the governor right now is sick. So that's another complication, and it's going to stretch out this process. Viewers, I'm coming out to you. Of course, we love to hear from all of you, and it's very important that we connect with you. Archana calling in from Delhi. Miss Archana, go ahead. Good evening. What's your view? Who's to blame?
You know, first of all, I want to tell the Shiv Sena spokespeople that they should raise the quality of the argument and not their voices. And it is very clear that Shiv Sena fought elections with BJP, but because of power, because of lust for power, he had a post-poll alliance with Sharad Pawar and Congress and became Sonia Sena. Today, because he discarded his ideology and his identity, he has lost power. He has not only lost power, he has lost faith and faith.
How articulate, Miss Archana. You should have been on this panel tonight. Unleavened voice of the public. Brilliant. Very well put. Raise the quality of your arguments, not your voices. O.P. Swaminathan calling in from Bengaluru this evening. Good evening, sir.
Rahul, good evening.
Good evening.
See, whenever some unholy alliances are put into place, like the BJP, PDP, or this Shiv Sena, NCP and Congress in Maharashtra, then you have to compromise on principles. When you are not in power, you don't have to compromise on principles.
Yeah.
So that is one of the biggest problems. The other thing is, The same thing is happening to our great Congress party. You keep petting your dog and not listen to leaders, then the people will quit the party.
Well, Times Now's viewers are always on the ball, and they are opinionated, just as opinionated as their favorite channel. Thank you very much. I want to bring in Abhishek, calling in from Kolkata this evening. Abhishek, who's to blame?
Yeah, hi. Good evening, Rahul.
Good evening, sir.
I think Uddhav Thackeray himself is to blame, because first and foremost, he totally cheated the electorate by going against the mandate. And secondly, he dumped own core ideology, which Balasaheb had said for all these decades. So he lived beyond the expected date. You know, so it was this government was destined to fall.
Well, from three corners of this country, viewers, north, south, east, and Sandeep calling in from Mumbai, that completes the quadrilateral. Sandeep, good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, hi Rahul.
Hi.
Look,
Lovely speaking to you.
I am from Mumbai, so I've been experiencing the performance of, MVA government from 2.5 years.
Right.
And I say that the performance have been deplorable. The government has been replete with scam, corruption, and the most important thing, there is a dearth of leadership in Uddhav Thackeray. Because, Maharashtra is Mumbai is the economical capital of India.
Yeah, powerhouse.
And last 2.5 years,
yes,
we have been seeing that policy paralysis and the government internal fight have really created a mess in Mumbai.
Well, look at these wonderful viewers, all of them calling in, four corners of this country, all speaking up. And their verdict is clear. Everyone's connected to this story, viewers. It has national implications. Let me tell you that. It's very, very important. Mumbai and Maharashtra are not to be trifled with. Their interests are very, very dependent and interlinked to the fiscal and financial health of the nation. And I explained to you yesterday, using some charts and statistics, why it is so crucial. Misgovernance, malgovernance, whatever you call it, misadministration, maladministration, whatever is the word, is inexcusable. Either Uddhav Thackeray settles scores with the Shinde camp, gets them over in the next 24 hours, or moves out. Vacuum cannot be afforded. These are very, very critical times for our economy. I leave it at that, viewers. But I have to ask Lokesh Jindal a small question. Sanjay says, we are ready to kick the Congress and the NCP. They don't even want you. Why are you extending support to the Shiv Sena? Lokesh Jindal, they've told you, we're ready to kick you.
Rahul, I've been hearing since last 45-50 minutes. You have been quoting Balasaheb Thackeray's statements, but one statement you missed out.
Okay.
Balasaheb Thackeray famously stated that it was a grave mistake to ally with BJP.
Right.
He said that Shiv Sena had wasted 24 years of its life by allying with BJP, and BJP tried to destroy Shiv Sena in its home. Okay. And this entire rebellion is again something that is manufactured by BJP on its attempt so as to destroy Shiv Sena. But let me tell you, this won't happen. I know the spirit of Shiv Sena. The Shiv Senics, they have an emotional bonding to the Thackeray's. The Thackeray's are still viewed as the leaders of Shiv Sena, and things will settle. MVA will continue, and the BJP will fail in its objective.
Okay, well, viewers, it might well be true. The BJP might have orchestrated all of this from behind the scenes, but there is always a pull factor and a push factor. The pull factor might be the BJP factor. Who knows what carrots they have dangled? We don't know. As of now, the BJP is not speaking. This is not our problem. But you see, the greatest irony is that even Sharad Pawar doesn't accept it's the BJP, viewers. It is saying he held not one but two press conferences saying this is a Shiv Sena internal issue. Let them sort it. He never talked about the BJP. And the NCP in part also wanted to align with the BJP. Ajit Pawar, who held a press conference today, he must have been wondering what could have been had my uncle not stopped me. Well, viewers, it's a potpourri. It is a simmering pot. Call it what you want to. But uncertainty is not going to help Maharashtra, and it is certainly going to have big implications for India's economy. I'll leave it at this. Navika Kumar, coming up on the News Hour.